Hi everyone, I'm Anita and welcome to my channel. I'm a QHHT practitioner and this is where we talk about everything in the world of hypnosis. I specialize in past life regression and I wanted to share some pretty amazing stories with you today. So along my journey, along my travels in understanding past life and reading all kinds of books and listening to gurus and all different types of people who talked about past lives, I really recall that being told on more than one occasion that basically if you were human, you had only past lives that were human. And if you were an animal, you only had lives as past lives as an animal. They were two separate realms and they never interconnected. Well, I found out very differently after doing over 100 clients in QHHT. And I had many clients coming back as animals. So wanted to share a couple of little stories with you because they were quite extraordinary. So I had one client that was in a past life regression, and she kept saying to me, "Hop, hop, hop, hop," and I was like, "What is going on?" After a while, it took me a moment to establish that my client was actually a frog. And she was a frog in a pond, and it was a very simple life. And she didn't have much vocabulary, but she had enough for us to figure out that she was a frog in a pond. She was having a great time, and we moved her on and we went into other lifetimes. Then I had another client who basically started out their regression as being a salmon. And he was a salmon going up the river, looking to mate so that he could have more salmon. And he talked about the challenge of going up the river and the water and the strength that he needed. And he hadn't eaten much. And he was doing everything he could to make sure that this journey occurred. I mean, it was, we all know, this is very famous and important in nature, is the salmon going up the river to spawn their eggs and lay their eggs, the females. And he went through the entire experience. Now, the sad part of that experience was that after he had finished doing that, he went down the river and ended up in a very toxic part of the river and in a lake and basically suffocated and died of pollution, poisoning. So that was really, that was very heartfelt for me. It was like very scary. That's what's happening today. And then that same client, he went on to another past life in his regression, and he came out as a dolphin. And it was extraordinary. He was laughing and playing and swimming and jumping, and he was playing with other young dolphins and talking about his family and the other families. And he was almost talking about like sort of going to school, going to training with the dolphins. And he had this very full life and was really extraordinary, swimming and just always having fun as a dolphin. And so we go through this life and he's moved forward and we come to the point where he's aging and he's getting quite old. And now what's happening is he's always sort of at the back of the school of dolphins. And, he just doesn't have the energy or the health to keep up the way that he did when he was a young dolphin. And so he basically describes that he was the only one left on his own, alone. And then a big, ferocious orca, killer whale comes up and eats him for breakfast. So extraordinary tales. Um, so it's very evident to me that a person can be an animal and an animal can be a human. I've always felt that with animals, particularly like dogs, cats, house pets. They take on extraordinary personalities. They're very much like humans in my eyes. They're very emotional. They're very sensitive to their environment. They're finicky about their foods. I mean, they're very much like humans, only they have a different loyalty system. Cats can be more independent. But when I observed animals throughout my life, having pets myself, I always felt there was a lot of human qualities in animals. And I think doing QHHT has shown me that there is no particular set realm, and you can come back as many different things. There's a very extraordinary story that I'd love to share with you that happened in a session with a client. And I just can't make this stuff up, folks. So basically, what ended up happening was about 2 years ago, I had a really lovely client, and she basically was challenged with issues with her relationship with her mother, as well as her two daughters. So she had had a very sort of not a great childhood. Her mother was very absent most of the time. She never received unconditional love. She never really was overly traumatized, but she was pretty well ignored and left alone a lot of the time. So she never really felt a great love for her mother. She was working on her relationship with her mother, and she was trying to heal from the lack of unconditional love in her relationship, and she was doing the work. However, what she had said to me was that she always felt a little chip on her shoulder about her mother. And she said there was a strange thing that she never liked her mother. And she said she never could understand why, but she just never resonated with her, never connected with her, and tried many times, forgave her, tried to move on with their relationship, but she just could never get to this soft, pushy feeling that she loved her mother. So I was like, okay, well, let's do the regression and we'll ask the questions and we'll find out. So we went into trance, and basically my client started off by going into a past life where she was a cheetah, and she was a mother cheetah, and she, I'm assuming, was in Africa. She described the vegetation being in the jungle amongst the trees and the brushes, and it was hot and the sun was blaring. And she basically relayed that she was a mother cheetah and she had two baby cheetahs. They were both two baby girls. And so they hadn't eaten in a long time. And she needed to go hunting, and she needed to provide them food, as well as she was getting past her ends to starvation as well. So in order to go hunting, she needed to do something with her two babies. So female cheetahs as mothers, they're pretty well on their own. There's no support, there's no pack, and there's absolutely no father in the cheetah world. So basically, the mother fends for the cheetahs from day one. So she had a lot of anxiety because she had to hide these baby cheetahs, and she didn't know where to hide them. She was looking for different places and never feeling 100% comfortable because she felt this wasn't quite the right place. And then she'd move them and she'd say, like, this wasn't quite the right place. So she had a lot of anxiety, a lot of pacing, and a lot of back and forth, dragging these baby cheetahs to try and find a safe place. So she finally did. And it was very heartfelt going through this session with her, feeling the anxiety of this mother hiding these babies. But if she didn't hide them, they were going to die because she needed to hunt to get food. So she finally found a good place and felt comfortable enough to leave them. And so she went on her way, and obviously, had her spaces or haunts that she'd gone back to, and places that she knew animals and followed scents, etc. And basically, she went in through the forest and didn't realize it, came upon a hunter and was shot dead immediately. My heart stopped. So this mother cheetah was dead, and she had two baby female cheetahs hidden somewhere, God knows where. So the hunter was quite proud of themselves, and it basically, went to the cheetah, gathered it up, and took it back home. And then the hunter not only took it home, but basically was so proud of their killing that they ended up having this cheetah stuffed and put into their living room. So as we're going through the regression, my client explains to me, I ask her, who is the hunter, and she see the hunter, and she tells me that the hunter is her mother in this lifetime. Wow. Was I blown away? So no wonder my client didn't ever feel warm and fuzzy towards her mother, because this was the mother that shot her. Her being a mother of two baby cheetahs, shot her, and not only shot her, but dragged her home, stuffed her, and put her in her living room like a trophy. That I can't make up. So then we went forward in the regression, and I asked about the two baby cubs, what had happened to them. So the client explained that they were somehow found by another cheetah who basically took them and raised them, and they actually grew up to be adults and actually had babies themselves. But they said that one particular cub was completely traumatized and very traumatized by being abandoned in the forest. It turned out that those two baby cheetahs were the two daughters in my client's current life. And my client had explained to me that before we had gone into the session, that she as well had a very difficult time connecting with her daughter and trying to build a relationship their entire lives. And when we saw that in the regression, it was understood why my client had such a difficult time connecting with her daughter. So here's an example of a client that goes through a past life, that being an animal, and very clearly that animal was herself, and the two baby cheetahs that she had in that past lifetime were her two daughters in this lifetime today, and the hunter that eventually killed her was basically her mother in this lifetime. Incredible story. And what was so incredible was it was also extremely valuable for my client to truly understand the bridges that could not be forged in these relationships because of these past life events. So we were able to heal those events in the regression, as well as it formed a new sounding board for my client. It gave her a new mode of forgiveness, and it helped her to forgive her mother in a very different way. And it also helped her to bridge a better relationship with her daughter, because now she completely understood why her daughter was so remote and so unwilling to forge a relationship. These types of emotions don't get carried on consciously. They often are imprinted within our subconsciousness. And this is just a wonderful example of how QHHT can really put the pieces of your life together and help you grow and expand and become a better person, form more strength in your relationships, and to basically heal yourself. So if you'd love to book a session, I'd be happy to be your guide. You can reach me in Toronto on my website. My link will be below. You can book an appointment through my calendar. And I wish you all the very best. And these are just stories, folks, that I can't make up. And the extraordinary world of hypnosis brings me new and enlightening stories every day. And I'm so appreciative to be able to share them with you. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching, and have a great day.